Facts First presents. Here's what the tiny hole on a padlock is for. Old TV antennas, solo cups, ridges on the sides of coins, coat hangers, and the tiny hole beside the iPhone camera lens – they all have something in common. They are common household items which are used every day, but they hide some very cool secrets. When used as intended, these items are meant to provide solutions for a number of little issues around the house. So we're going to share some of these common items that might be lying around your home. They're designed to save you money, time, and amaze you with a cool unknown purpose you might not know. For example, here's what the tiny hole on a padlock is for. You may have noticed a little hole or two at the base of your padlock. Well, these holes have two essential purposes for the padlock itself. Firstly, if water gets inside the lock, the holes enable it to drain out. These locks are often used outside, so they're designed to handle the elements. If no provision was made for the water to drain out, it could end up freezing on the inside of the lock, causing some serious damage because water expands as it freezes. Second, these holes enable you to pour WD-40 or oil into the lock if it becomes jammed or won't open for you. Without the hole that allows for pouring in the oil, the lock would be rendered useless whenever it became stuck. The loop on the back of a shirt. This mysterious loop is usually found on nice collared shirts, specifically in the middle of the back of the shirt for men. The Navy is responsible for these loops. There's not a lot of closet space on a Navy vessel, and these heroes out to sea and such, well, they have loops so they can hang the shirts on hooks. In the 1960s, the loops were also used by college students while at the gym to hang their shirts and prevent them from becoming wrinkled. Nowadays, manufacturers place them on shirts to signify quality and class. In addition, some young ladies pull on these hooks of boys that they're attracted to, so having them on the shirt is still kind of practical. The dip in the wine bottles. If you're a wine drinker, you've probably noticed that substantial dip on the bottom of the bottle. It is a bit odd, but it's there for a few reasons. First of all, the dip is actually known as a kick-up or a punt, even though the origin of that name isn't really known. The punt is intended to give a bit more stability to the bottle. It prevents a strong wind or a touch from easily knocking over the bottle and breaking it. Additionally, the punt at the bottom of the bottle makes the bottle stronger, and that means the bottle is able to endure higher pressure if sparkling wine or champagne is put in it. Another great feature of the punt is that it makes it easier for steam to be distributed while the bottle's being cleaned before the wine is poured into it, thus ensuring the content is as immaculate as possible. Colored squares on the toothpaste tube. If you've ever taken a good look toward the bottom of your toothpaste tube, you may have noticed a colored block there. Typically, the block is either black, green, blue, or red. That's not an indication regarding the chemicals used in the product, as some people have erroneously stated, and neither is it an aesthetic option by the manufacturer. The colored blocks are actually known as eye marks. They're meant to indicate to the assembly line machines where packaging should be cut and folded. Without the indicator, toothpaste tubes would be attached to each other, making it dreadfully challenging to get any onto your toothbrush. If you're concerned about toxic chemicals in your toothpaste, just read the ingredients on the tube. The colored block is not going to help you with that. Arrow on your gas gauge. You may or may not have observed this before. On just about every car that's been produced since 2010, there is an arrow right next to the gas gauge which points to either the right or the left. A number of individuals might not have realized that it was there before somebody pointed it out to them. Now, the purpose of this arrow is to indicate whether the gas cap is on the right or left side of the car. The majority of individuals, they don't need a prompt because after refueling your car once or twice or a dozen times, the side on which to pull into the gas station just kind of comes to you by instinct. But the next time you rent a car or you're borrowing a friend's car, remember that that arrow is there to guide you. It'll save you from pulling into the gas station with a cap on the opposite side and feeling like an idiot. Buttons randomly placed on jeans. Avid wearers of jeans are undoubtedly aware of all the spare buttons that are all over their pants, typically around the pockets. While it might seem a bit odd, you probably have just accepted that it's how jeans are designed. But those extra buttons actually do have a significant purpose. These buttons are actually rivets that are placed strategically on the pants to prevent them from becoming worn out at the ripping and seams. If you can imagine that happening at an inconvenient time, you'd be happy your jeans are riveted properly. Quick fact, Levi Strauss, the jean tycoon, they actually own the patent on these rivets. The concept emerged around 1829 after miners grumbled about how rapidly their jeans were becoming worn. Mr. Strauss conceptualized the solution, and now jeans last for a very long time. Thank you, Mr. Strauss. Flaps on boxes of juice. The heavy flaps on the top of juice boxes are meant to be unfolded so that it's easier for kids to hold the box. Bear in mind, juice boxes are intended for children between the ages of 2 and 10, so unfolding those flaps makes it easier for tiny hands to hold the box without dropping it. Now if that's news to you, don't worry, it's very likely that you're just too old to have a juice box anyway. Red Solo Cup lines. You may have noticed that a series of horizontal lines are on Solo Cups. As you might have guessed, these ridged lines do have a purpose. They indicate the amount of alcohol to put in your cup. Starting at the bottom, the first line measures an ounce, which represents a single shot of hard liquor. A 5-ounce measurement is indicated by the next line up, which is ideal for a glass of wine. The top line measures 12 ounces, which is the typical size of a bottle of beer. The Red Solo Cup is actually designed to prevent you from drinking in excess. Yeah, I know. It's never going to work that way. Extra holes in sneakers. Unless your shoelaces are always tied by somebody else, there's no way you've missed the additional unused holes located at the top of your sneakers. That's not a flaw in the design, and nor is it just for aesthetic purposes. The holes are there as a benefit. Individuals who get foot blisters or those who feel their feet moving around in the sneakers, you have the option of placing these shoelaces in these additional holes. However, that should be done in the opposite direction. Doing this creates a loop on both sides, enabling you to cross the laces inside the two loops. Pulling down on the laces will create a tighter lock before your laces are tied normally. This technique is referred to as heel lock or lace lock, and it helps in ensuring that the sneakers remain tight on your feet. Holes in the handle of pots. If you're not a professional chef, you may not know why the majority of pots and pans that you own have holes on the handle. There are 2 good reasons that pots and pans have these holes. The holes make it easy for the vessels to be hung on hooks in the kitchen when they're not in use or drying, and that's typically seen in homes with a lot of space or in professional kitchens. The holes are also used by experienced cooks to hold a utensil during the process of cooking. For instance, if you don't want to set a stirring spoon on the counter or leave it in the pot, you can conveniently place it in the hole at the end of the handle. Try this next time you prepare a meal, and you can even impress your family or guests with your newly acquired cooking skill. Hole beside the camera on the iPhone. If you're an iPhone owner, you may have noticed a little hole right next to the lens of the camera. That hole is actually a microphone. Since the iPhone 5 came out, there have been 3 microphones on all of these smartphones. One's located on the bottom edge of the device, one under the speaker grill, and the one that's beside the camera lens. The 3 microphones make it easier for you to pick up sound, regardless of how you're holding the phone. It's actually kind of convenient if you have voice recognition, too. The mic next to the lens is also essential when you're shooting videos with sound on your phone. Dimples in a golf ball. The outer layer of golf balls has dozens of tiny little dimples. Well, that wasn't always the case, but some shrewd golfers realized that older balls that had nicks and bumps, they would travel further. These deficiencies actually produce some turbulence in the air that's around the ball, and it assists in lessening the drag. You can actually hit the ball farther if it's messed up. So golf balls were ultimately designed with purposeful mess-ups, these dimples, as a method of manufacturing the turbulence so greater distances and more lift would be achieved. Unfortunately, if you have poor golfing skills, all the dimples in the world aren't going to help you. All in all, the dimples on golf balls are hugely responsible for professional players nowadays being able to hit the ball that much further in comparison to players in generations past. Wooden coat hangers. Wooden coat hangers are upmarket and effortlessly denote class. But that's not the purpose for their existence. Wooden hangers are specifically designed to help in repelling unwanted critters like moths that could cause damage to your wardrobe. Heavy clothing, especially coats and woolen dresses, can be susceptible to damage from different types of insects. Cedar wood, when making these hangers, is actually a pleasant scent, and it's renowned in assisting at repelling moths and other pests. Bumps on the keyboard. If you explore the computer keyboard, you'll find a little bump on both the J and the F keys. Now, for those who took a typing class in high school, you're probably aware of why these bumps exist. For those who are unaware, the bumps exist for users to find their way around the keyboard while their eyes are on the screen. If you are properly typing with both hands, they'll be positioned so that the right index finger will be on J and the left index finger will be on F. Without looking at the keyboard, you'll be able to know that your fingers are in the right place using these bumps. Plastic cup lids. Plastic lids that are designed for disposable cups, they're meant to double as a coaster. Did you know that? The lids should definitely be left on the cup if you plan on shaking it up or if you're riding in the car, but if you're seated somewhere and you're ready to just enjoy your beverage, the lid does have ridges that are ideally designed to serve as a coaster that holds closely to the base of the cup, so you don't leave water rings on whatever you're setting your cup on. While it might not seem like it, these lids were designed with that purpose in mind. Most of the time there is an actual method to the madness around us, and this provides a remarkable example. Did any of these items come as a surprise to you? Tell us which ones in the comments, and subscribe for more.